I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart perspective.
Well, it is supper time, Sunday dinner with the Lockhart perspective and my special guest, the one and only Ronnie Mann. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat this evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see you. Valiant One, you seem to be somebody who is right on time all the time. I guarantee you, you might be the person that if we say meet us at 5 o'clock, you are there at 4:45. I love it. I love it. I want to say hi to all of you. Rachel Van Ziel, how are you? So good to see you. So good to see you. We have a good spread. The table is spread for us this evening, and I do believe that it's going to be a good one. I'm trying to pull the gain down just a little bit. Ronnie, can you tell me if that's okay? I'm getting popping S's. Not sure if that's a good thing. May not be. May not be. Um, it's great to see everybody this evening. So, Ronnie, how's it going? Tell us all about what we have to look forward to this evening.
Oh, it's going well. I appreciate being here at the Lockhart Perspective for Sunday dinner. You do sound well. The game sounds well. But yeah, we have something special to look forward to. We're definitely on the non-GMO kick this evening. So, food for thought, and we're gonna have a lot of good things on the table, and if you like it, go ahead and taste it. If you like how it tastes, go ahead and implement it into your diet, and then we'll move forward. But as far as the menu of the day, um, you know, uh, we're going to be talking about this Lupercalia. Pardon me. We're going to be talking about this Valentine's Day thing this
Yeah.
evening that I'm sure most of America partook in throughout the day, throughout the even throughout the week,
Mhm.
things of that nature. And we're going to just get down to the bottom of the origins and see where it came from and how it relates to our walk in trying to maintain a sense of truth. Miss Lockhart, you might be muted on your end.
I'm so glad I wasn't muted, but I'm going to say it again. I saw Rachel say that of something about the hairdo, and I was like, "Thank you." And I said, "But every girl needs one that she can just shake out on the weekend. She just needs her weekend hair. She could just shake it out." The one that I had originally was going to be a long, dark hair and then blonde there. Because we just got through talking about hair, right? We just got through talking about hair the other day. But like I said, it's all smoke and mirrors. And I believe every girl should have at least one girlfriend, just one friend girl for the weekend. It's the weekend friend girl. That's what we used to call these. So, yes, every woman must have at least one. And if you don't have one, you can go order this one, and you can order it from Hair Queen. Hair Queen. And yeah, you can do that, or you can go on Instagram and go to Hair Queen. It's a little pink, and they're not sponsoring this channel, by the way. It's a little bitty pink emblem that says Hair Queen on Instagram. So they have human hair, they've got it all. This is human hair. So if you're a lady who just decides, hey, I wanted to put on a hat today, like I did, but I decided a hat wouldn't look cute, so I put on a hat with hair. Yeah, that's hard. That's it. That's it. Just do it. It's a girl's prerogative. I mean, we have the pride. We have the right. We can do it. Yes, I was muted. Wasn't that hilarious, Valiant One? And I was going into, I was like, shake it off like a little wet dog. Take it with a little conditioner, spray it, and shake it off like a little wet dog. All right, y'all. So it is good to see each and every person here this evening. I'm glad that you guys are able to come in. Like I said, we are going to deal with some really good stuff tonight. This is Sunday dinner, and Ronnie Man is going to be serving it up. Sonia, hello, Sonia. Sonia, hello, sister. How are you tonight? It is so good to see you. And so, yes, we are going to have a good conversation. Good conversation. But I just want to talk to you guys just a little bit before we get started. And that is the importance of you guys being bold in what you know. This is the season. So if there's anybody that's listening that has not been bold or just been feeling back, like sitting back, waiting to, go out there and jump forward, do it. Do it now. Speak the word in season and out of season. I hope this is encouraging somebody, because this is the important thing that I want to drive home tonight before we get underway. And that is, whatever the Father has given you as your duty to share with this world, it's time to do it now. It's time to do it now. Ronnie, I'm going to go ahead and give you the helm, and thank you so much for being here, sir. There you are.
Yeah, it's much appreciated, and you're right. This is the time to be vocal with this truth. Well, it's always time to be vocal with truth, but at this juncture, we got to go in, and when we go in, we have to be mindful to be on point, because we have mockers and naysayers at every bend, trying to attack you and make you look, under par. So, definitely get served up with this nice full course meal, and let's move forward in the spirit, in spirit and in truth. So with doing so, we definitely want to keep in line with the non-GMO. So when we hit these aspects, we have to look at ourselves and see where we are in the scheme of things. So, what? Just briefly, last week, what did we talk about? On the Sunday dinner, we were talking about, it was the last day of January, so we talked about a little bit, Janus, things of that nature, where that came from, why we're doing that, why it's called January. Moving forward, now we are what? We're in February. So keeping consistent with the narrative, I think you should know by now. What do you think we're doing calling it February? Just off top, I'm gonna tell you why we call it February, because Rome told us to call it February, and thus we call it February. So we are definitely in a Roman construct still. Outside of last month, here we go again, and once again into this month, we are under, interestingly enough, a Roman construct. So this is called February. February. Why? Let's break that down. Do you have Felicia? Do you have some of the things that I sent to you?
I most assuredly do, kind sir. Just let me know which way you want to go.
Yeah, let's just go directly from, in order. Let's just
Mhm.
talk about uh, the Roman festival called Februalia. So
Okay.
last week we talked about, we talked about the same thing. There's a festival, and here we go again. We're entering into Februalia, with the observation of February. So Once again, these whole things, everything that we, as far as time is concerned, we are dealing with a construct. We're dealing with a time frame, and there is an appointed time for everything. Right now, Rome has told us that this is the appointed time for February. And why? Because in ancient Rome, they had something called Februalia. And in Februalia, they worshiped and reverenced Februa or Februus, depending on if you want to take on the Latinized or what have you. But so this once again is a time allotted for a Roman god, and this Roman god's name is Februa. Um, and there's an appointed time, like I said, for everything. This is the appointed time for Februa according to Rome. And if we adhere to this mentally, then we are basically uh, under the precepts of Rome. And I don't know. Okay, so let me just read briefly, just to introduce you. Right underneath that picture says the ancient Romans had a festival for nearly everything. And if you were a god, you almost always got your own holiday. Februus, for whom the month of February is named, was a god associated with both death and purification. In some writings, Februus is considered the same god as Fawn because their holidays were celebrated so closely together. So we'll go ahead and take a look into all of this, but I just want to emphasize and bring you into um, the paganism that is Februalia, and this is um, an event, a festival that is observed at the beginning of February to purify you and to enter you into pure. Because the thing is, what they're purifying you from is associated with death and purification. Because um, in the ancient Roman calendar, there's only 10 months, and that last month is like an extended long month, and it's like 90 days. You know, it depends on how many days, but it's a very lengthy. It's almost 3 months worth of time, that 10th month, and that's the quote unquote death period. That's the dark death cold period, and so in Februa, in in the observation of the time frame of Februa, we're being purified from the death so we can enter into a brand new era, which would be, what we call spring or what have you. Um, and so we're being purified for this whole entire month as Romans. We're being purified to enter into a new thing that is introduced with the spring equinox. And on the spring equinox, then we enter into a new era of life. But right now we're in a death period, and we need to be purified so we can enter into that life, as far as what the Roman construct states. So all of this is paganism, um, and we play a part in it on a day-to-day basis. Like just to reemphasize, today is January 14th. So what I mean, I'm sorry, pardon me. Today is February 14th. So what we're actually saying is today is the 14th day of the observance of Februa. This is the 14th day that we are given to observe Februa, and we do this on a month-to-month basis. So there's a purification process, and now we are entering into today per se. So you can click on to the onto the next link that I sent you. And this isn't, I'm not going super deep. I just want to touch basis on, I might be re-emphasizing things that we already know, or I might be introducing these things that is brand new to some of the listeners. But where do we get these things? Why is it this? Why is today, Valentine's Day or what have you? I'm not even going to get into why it is, why they decided to call it Valentine. I'm just going to talk about the origin of what this thing is. So, okay, yeah, scroll down until you see Origins of Valentine's Day. And I have a lag, so pardon me. Just let me know when you're there, so everybody can follow along, or everybody has the ability to follow along if they are able to.
I hope this is going to describe what I was going to talk about. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, go ahead. This is funny. It's actually quite creepy. It's really quite
Yeah,
creepy. So here it
yeah,
is.
we'll definitely dive into it. So, and we'll see as we progress how all of these things relate. So I'm just going to start reading. Origins of Valentine's Day, a pagan festival in February. Um, while some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death or burial, which probably occurred around AD 2070, others claim that the Christian Church may have decided to place Saint Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia, celebrated on the Ides of February, which is February 15th. Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as to the Roman founders, Romulus and Remus. So, um, Romulus and Remus have been deified in Rome. And so this whole entire month, we are observing their feast, an observation for them. This is what this entire period is dedicated to. Mind you, um, this is a feast day. Saint Valentine's feast day is what it's actually called in Roman Roman Catholicism. It's Saint Valentine's feast day. But the thing is, there's already feast days that we're supposed to observe if we enter into, the narrow gate, and then we're supposed to be doing Yah's will. Then of course we need to be um, distancing ourselves from the world. And if there's already feast days that we're supposed to observe, then these other feast days are either counterfeits or have been implemented as substitutes. Um, and we need to consider these things. So this is actually a feast day, and feast days are always in dedication to some type of God. And if you don't find this feast day in scripture, then I'm not entirely sure that you should be partaking in it. Nonetheless, the actual origin of this event is called Lupercalia. So, um, just to reiterate some things, Lupercalia, and it's dedicated to who? To Faunus. All right, so click on to the next link,
Alrighty.
and this is just a yeah, and this is just a reiteration, just to let you. I'm showing you multiple sources that this is actually, public information. This isn't anything that you have to be scholarly about. This isn't anything that is hiding in a dark crevice of a library or anything. I pulled something up just looking online. I pulled something up off of CNN, and I'm
Hmm.
like, wow,
I'm going
yeah.
to tell you
So
something. CNN's print is the old CNN. CNN's
mm,
print is the old CNN. And I don't know if you guys know what I mean. Back in the day, CNN, we're talking back when the gentleman who just passed away, I don't remember his name. The older gentleman looked like a fish with the big,
Larry,
yeah,
yes,
Larry
yes,
King.
Larry King.
So, yes. So the print CNN, for whatever reason, I don't understand. Maybe it's keeping in line with the rule that says, uh, you know, um, whatever we're telling you about, we got to be honest with you. That may be it, but their print is creepy because it's a total opposite of what they've got going on TV. So with that said, I would trust it. I really would. And then you can do your own research. Don't ever trust anything without doing your own research.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I might fumble over words and say something that I thought that I said, but in actuality, I said the opposite of it. Just by fumbling words, or I might have misspoke or spoke out of turn, something to that degree. You can't take anybody's word for it. You have to dive in to seek for yourself. Every man has to bring something to the table. Everybody has to bring their own sacrifice to the table. We can't rely. I can't rely on your sacrifice. You can't rely on mine. We all have to play our own part. So this is what I'm bringing to the Sunday dinner table. But you know, it's a potluck. You know, everybody, I'm gonna munch on something that you bring in, and you munch on
Mhm.
something that I bring.
Yeah. Potluck.
However, whatever's on this table needs to be
Mm.
non-GMO. Let me be very very clear on that. So whatever we put on the table clearly will be non-GMO. But seek for yourself to find this truth and make sure vet the vetting of
Of the vetter, of the vetee.
the vet.
Vet the vetting of the vetee,
Yeah,
or the vetter. Vet us. Vet everything
yeah,
you hear across this platform and any other platform, because it does tie right in with the scripture that says, "And all you're getting, get understanding." And it is responsible. We are responsible for what we receive. We are responsible for how much we dig and how much we, because you know what, for whatever reason, it could be something that we say that may be a smidge off. And with your study, you could correct that, right? But it is important to do it. And I know a lot of people in our chat is they're very intelligent, well versed, that if we let them up here, they could just do it. You know what I'm saying? But he's absolutely right. We do have to make sure that we vet the vetter, vet the vetty.
that's right. That's right.
Hmm.
Um, and so moving forward, we see that even CNN, like I said, will let you know they've done their research. So if CNN is doing their research, but we always talk bad about CNN, like you better be doing your research because CNN did theirs. Um, so this is the thing. I'm I'm just letting you know that this is public information. It says the ancient Roman festival of Lupercalia has been one of the earliest records of the term Valentine's Day, but the holiday isn't what you imagine. In fact, it's probably darker. The event, which was held on February 15th, began with the traditional sacrifice of an unlucky goat and a dog. And if that didn't get Cupid's arrow soaring, a group of priests called the Luperci then cut off a piece of the skin of the two animals, touched it on their foreheads, and then struck it against every woman nearby. So we're going to dive into that in a second. Um, but I
Wait
just
a
wanted to
minute,
let you
honey. I
know.
I think maybe I've got the wrong thing up here because I don't see the verbiage that you use. Are you reading something separate of what's on the
Because
screen?
that's where I'm going. No, that's fine because that's exactly where I'm going to next. What I just read was an article of CNN explaining to you
Okay.
that
Okay.
Valentine's Day might have darker might have a historical, origin or what have you,
Okay. Okay.
um, that, that might shock you or what have you,
Okay.
and that came from CNN. So that's kind of irrelevant. I just wanted to make the point that it's out there.
I
If you
just want
do
to
the
make sure
research,
I wasn't doing
it's
the wrong thing. You'd be like, "What is she doing?"
that's fine because in actuality, this is what I want to get at. This is exactly what I want to get at because
Okay.
now we're talking about Lupercalia, and Lupercalia is what we call Saint Valentine's Day, the Feast of Valentine. It is the Roman festival of Lupercalia. So once again, we are in Rome. You know why? Because this is a Roman construct that we're living in, and we have to come out of it. And how can we come out of it except through knowledge? My people perish for lack of knowledge. So we have to be observant of our surroundings, and we have to know that we know that we know that we're being duped, and then we have to do something about it. And this right here, this day, this whole day that America and a vast majority of the world celebrated, it was Lupercalia. In Lupercalia, an ancient Roman festival that was conducted annually on February 15th under the superintendence of a corporation of priests called the Luperci. The origins of the festival are obscure, although the likely derivation of its name comes from lupus, which is the wolf. And we know this to be true because the wolf is who nurtured and who suckled um, Romulus and Remus
Hmm. Correct.
in the right, which are the founders of Rome. So it says that the name came from the lupus. It has variously suggested connection with an ancient deity who protected herds from wolves, and with the legendary she wolf herself, who
Wow.
nursed Romulus. Remus. As a fertility rite, the festival is also associated with the god Faunus. Once
Wow.
again, so fertility rite, because this is what's going on. Um, you are preparing yourself. You're purifying yourself from the dead months, from the last year of being dead. And if we're dead, we have to make sure that our fertility is on point because we're about to come into life again with the spring equinox, as far as the Roman construct, the Roman ideology is concerned,
Okay.
or theology or mythology, whatever word you want to put there.
Right.
So we have to make sure that we do a fertility right so we can get in check, so we can be on point to go ahead and usher in this life that is about to manifest itself on the spring equinox. So it's a fertility right, and this wolf lupus, that that is like how the eagle, quote unquote, represents America. The wolf represents Rome, the founding of Rome. That's the mother. That's the
Okay.
mother. And then they take up, the phoenix or what have you, which is the eagle, and they take that up as well. But the mother of it all is a wolf. How interesting. How interesting.
So then I
So
don't think it's an accident that one of the scriptures that everybody is screaming about with regards to the Mandela effect utilizes the wolf. I mean, there are plenty other reasons why, but I think that, being that it is a whole Roman thing, I really honestly feel like that's possibly one of the reasons why we see that scripture now over in Isaiah and a couple of other places that specifically say that the wolf will lie down with the lamb. And that's a lie because it definitely said the lion will lie down with the lamb. Perhaps that's the reason why, under their spirit of witchcraft, they changed it to that. What do you say?
well, as far as the wolf is concerned in general, we are this whole entire Roman theology that parades itself as truth, um, is the metaphorical equivalent to the wolf in sheep's clothing, and Rome is literally mothered by the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
things
Sandy,
to consider.
yeah, and Sandy Aaron here says this all goes back to Nimrod and Babel. Um, Rachel Van Ziel says she made a comment with regards to fertility equals basically creation, and then followed it up with being a god of creation, which is pretty much what we're looking at right now when we consider the whole. I mean, we saw some stuff. You and I just talked about some stuff that we just saw, and it was amazing dealing with creating. So to Rachel's point, you are right on point, sis. You're right on point.
Yeah, and furthermore, like that's why the pagans, the practicing, not just pagans in general, like, oh, you're a pagan, you're a heathen, but the literal pagans and the literal Wiccans, that's why they love this holiday. That's why they love this feast. And this is the thing. Um, you don't see Wiccans and you don't see pagans celebrating Yah's feasts, but you see them celebrating Roman Catholicism, Christendom's feasts. Yeah, that's something to consider. That is really something to consider.
Well, I think
So
also, I'm sorry, just to piggyback in this conversation, I think it's very important to understand what Ronnie is saying is absolutely correct because if you look back and they'll say that they knew that there was only one way to get these things to be promulgated and to get their feast and their celebrations pushed through was to pass them on to the Christians because they were very, as they put it, I watched the entire thing on it and I marveled at it. But their thing was they're very gullible and they're willing to think that anything that looks like them is them or anything that somebody passes to them as very soft and nice and fluffy and loving. They stated, hey, this is how we were able to do it, and this is why they did it because they knew that they would then have more people to worship. Here's the funny thing about it. I hear a lot of people say, well, yeah, I heard that it's pagan, but that's not why I'm doing it. But see, even though that's not why you're doing it, the mere fact that you say you know that it is, and this is why, but that's not why you're doing it, you're still doing it for their purpose because they knew you were going to do it in any form of worship that is given to them. It's there, the devil is taking it. the whole Christmas thing, every single thing that Jehovah's Witnesses used to knock on your door and tell you that you shouldn't be doing it because it was coming from them, you just discounted them as crazy. They have a little bit of truth in what they're saying because here it is in our faces right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so it's no surprise when you hear the son who walked the earth and his teachings, and he tells you flat out. He says, "Look, man, you have all these traditions that you do, and you're washing the outside of the cup. You're washing the outside of the cup,
Hmm.
and you're doing all of these things like it. You're doing all these things like it, and in the process of keeping with the traditions of man, you are nullifying, you are null and void, you are making null and void the commandments of the Most High." And he uses this rhetoric often. He says, you are whitewashed tombs. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful, nice tomb. It's all whitewashed and got the plaster on it, and it's beautiful. But on the inside is bones and mold and mildew and corruption and death. It's the same thing of that outside of that cup. It's the same thing as no, we're making it Valentine's Day. That's the outside of the cup, but the inside of the cup is Lupercalia. And what we are doing in the process is we are making null and void the commandments of the Most High when we adhere to the traditions of men. You with me?
Oh, I'm with you, lock, stock, and barrel.
Okay. Okay. So
Lock, stock, and barrel.
if you scroll down to the next paragraph, pardon me, if you scroll down to the next paragraph, it just gives you a quick synopsis of what they did during
So,
this festival Lupercalia.
do you want me to read that or you got it?
I can't unless you would like to. I can.
Because, okay, so each Lupercalia began with the sacrifice by lupracy. Is that lupracy of goats and a dog? Which
The Luperci. The
the
Luperci.
luperci of goats and a dog. Okay, after which two of the Luperci were led to the altar, and their foreheads were touched with a bloody knife, and the blood was wiped off with wool dipped in milk. That is a ritual. Wool dipped in milk. Wow. I don't want to go on that, but I know what that I wow. So the ritual required that two young men laugh. Mm,
Okay. Okay. Just pause real quick. So the
yeah.
Luperci are the priests of Lupus, which is the wolf.
Isn't it ironic we have an illness with that name?
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Um, because all of our terminology either comes from, I'm sorry, all of our scientific terminology and medical terminology either comes from the Greek or comes from the Latin. So yeah, definitely lupus. But it's the priest. The Luperci are the priests of lupus, which is a wolf. So you have a wolf priest. So these are obviously priests that are that are representing wolves. And I can't get away from the danger of the wolf in the sheep's clothing, telling you this is cool, this is acceptable, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing if you are a citizen of Rome. But if you have come out of her and not interested in partaking in her plagues, then you would not be of this world. You just be in it. You just be hanging out waiting for the kingdom
Mm,
to come.
come
Um,
on.
so Luperci are the priests that perform this ritual, and then so you have the blood dipped in milk. Uh, this is not the purification portion of the ritual. This is the fertility portion of the ritual. Blood dipped in milk. I mean, these are representations of bodily fluids. If you understand what I'm saying without
That's
saying.
exactly what it is, and I was thinking about the whole spirit cooking thing. I'm not gonna knock nothing.
Ah,
No,
that exactly,
you know
exactly,
what I'm saying.
exactly.
I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see this. I see this. Y'all see this, and so you get a lot of these people that everyone hails as a hero for their their superstars, and and all of that stuff, and yeah, and everybody is all into this stuff. And it's just, oh, it was just a symbol. It was just a joke. It wasn't really serious. No, you meant that. You meant that. What they did is what they meant. Hmm. That's right.
All right. Yeah. Continue reading if or
Okay.
did you want me?
No, I got you. So the two men laughed. Now I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but there was a laughing spirit that they had going through Christendom.
Ooh, Kenneth Copeland and them.
Okay, that's right. And so everybody
With
was just ha 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 ha
Kenneth.
laughing, and they would just start off laughing. And I remember being at a visiting place. I went to visit somewhere, and they all just broke out with this, and it to me was the most demonic thing that I've ever seen. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just knew that there was something wrong with this whole thing. But at one point, a lot of churches were doing this, and it was definitely a spirit that was sweeping in their churches. And it's because of the fact that there was a little leaven that leavened the whole lump. There was a little bit of sacrifice that they had given that they would yield to, and this is why these things came into the church, and people mistook this stuff as godly, and it was not. But it says that the ritual required the two young men laugh. The sacrificial feast followed, after which the Luperci cut thongs from the skin of the sacrificial animals and ran in two bands around the Plataean hill, striking with the thongs at any woman. There's another word there. You see that word thongs? Look at all these things that are all tying into demonic stuff. At any woman, let me move the mouse out here, who came near them. A blow from a thong was supposed to render a woman fertile.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, we can stop right here with this slide or what have you. But so just a nutshell of the synopsis is okay. So when we ate, that spirit cooking that you're talking about. So of course, after all of this ritual, we're gonna have a feast, and this is the feast. So we're gonna eat that dog, and we're gonna eat that goat. And what's really really interesting is the goat was uh the fertility sacrifice. Pardon me. The goat was the fertility sacrifice, and the dog was the purification sacrifice. And that is completely contrary to what Yahusha said. He said that the dogs don't even get like I'm not even gonna feed you scraps off I can't do that. I have to give the children bread. And then the lady was like, yeah, but at least I can get some scraps. And she was calling, the dogs are unclean animals, but here in the Roman construct, the dog is the purification sacrifice.
I want
Why?
to. I'm sorry. I do want to mention something because very important. Very important. The next, before we leave this slide, very important. In 494 CE, for those who still want to hold on to their sacred cow, got a little something for you.
There you
So,
go.
so they wanted to shroud this thing, right? And of course, Rome, having the Pope, decided let's sort of shroud this. All right. So in 494, the CE, well, they keep doing this CE stuff. I don't understand it, but it's 494 AD. The Christian church under Pope, it looks like Galatius the first,
Hmm.
forbid participation in the festival. Tradition holds that he appropriated the form of the rite as the feast of purification. Candlemas celebrated in February on February the 2nd, but it is likely that the Christian feast was established in a previous century. In the previous century, and it has also been alternately suggested that that same pope replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day, celebrated on February the 14th, but the origin of that holiday was much likely later. So, what they attempt to do is they want to take everything and just stick it under something else and stick it under something else and then stick it under something else. And if you're not digging and digging and digging and pulling, you'll just say, see, that was it. They did away with it. But did they do away with it? No, they didn't do away with it. They just gave it a different name. And that's where
Exactly.
we are today.
And so if we go back to ancient Babylon and into ancient Assyria, um, the the Israelites, the Yahudim, they they had something that they were told to do while they were in captivity, and they call it Purim. And Purim is a purification type of event too. And it's really interesting that that takes place at this same exact time in the
Hmm.
same exact juncture. Um, I'm not going to go into detail with that, but it's just very interesting because all these times they have an appointed time for these events. There's an appointed time for it. So, is there paganism in that? Is there idolatry in that? That's something to discuss at the least. And
And you guys, I'm sorry, sir. Purim is another way that people will notice that word. So he pronounced it absolutely correct, but some of us have heard it as Purim. So if you guys are wondering about that time frame, that is Purim.
right. Meanwhile, the traditions of Rome, which came from ancient pagan ways, are operating with a feast called the Feast of Purification at the same exact time. So that is interesting. That is very interesting. The correlation there. Um, but not to dwell on anything outside of uh, the specifics of Lupercalia. The Lupercalia. This is what goes down. I sacrifice for the fertility aspect a goat. Then I sacrifice for the purification aspect a dog. And then I take those, and then we cook we cook them, and then we eat them in a sacrifice. And this is going to prepare us. This is what purifies us, actually, and prepares us for the life that is going to ensue, when on the spring equinox. And while they're doing that, the priests are taking strips of the hide of these animals, and they're like braiding them together, because now we need purification and fertility in one. And then what they do with it is they go into the field, and they basically just use it as a a whip, like a bull whip, and they whip the field, they whip the barren field for uh, as a ritual to make sure that their crops will grow, with abundance or what have you. Then they come around, and then they smack the women up with it. And the women, what they do, they are rendered fertile if they get touched. So in this construct, they actually want to get touched. They're looking for their quote unquote Valentine to come around and smack them up with the bloody whip. And I might be going ahead of myself, but I'll go ahead and just explain the ins and outs of the ceremony. But these are other aspects that we see in American tradition as well, maybe other countries' tradition as well. But the women get together, and they're just standing around and waiting, and then we're gonna run around and pretend like we don't want to get hit by one of these blows from these braids, these bloody braids. But in actuality, that's you're there in the first place, so you can get hit by one of the braids. This is very similar to what they call Sadie Hawkins, and
Yes. We remember that dance in high school. You always wanted to go up and pick the nicest looking guy you chose to that and you'd always get the wrong cat. It was
so
always
that
the wrong cat.
so the Sadie Hawkins is a remnant, is the flip, like instead of the guy picking the girl gets to go and pick the guy that she wants to that she's hoping that would hit her, who will hit her with that bloody thong or what have you. So yeah, there's a lot of aspects that trickle down throughout time, and we have to ask ourselves, where did these traditions, where did these things come from? And if it's not of Yah, then it most likely is not pleasing unto him, in some form or fashion. And meanwhile, we're thinking, oh, this is just innocent, it's just innocent. I would say that that is a naive approach, and we have to come out of that and stop drinking milk and get on some meat. Eventually we're going to have to get on some meat.
Hmm. That's very good. Very
Okay.
good. You want me to move another slide, or are we still on this
Let's
one?
go on to another slide. Let's go on to
Okay.
another slide.
Okay.
So we know that it is dedicated, for as far as fertility and as far as purification, but in general, we've heard the name faunus over and over again. So it's dedicated to this god Faunus. Of course, it's dedicated to Lupus with the Luperci, but it's tied in with Faunus. Are are you are we are we on the same page, or did I jump the gun, Felicia? I don't know if
Is this the one you wanted, Faunus?
this is the one I wanted. So this is
All right.
Faunus. So this is Faunus. Look at him. Is this a guy that you want to be, making sacrifices unto? This guy is called
Would you
Faunus.
date him? Would you date him on a regular date? I mean, would you really equate him with love? The goddess of love. Would you? No, you wouldn't.
So this is who is all dedicated to this whole entire event. Who is Faunus? Who is the goat god? Faunus is the goat god. That's why that's where we get the word fawn from. And in the ancient, at least what we call the alphabet in the ancient writing, the P and the F are they're one and the same. It's the same thing. So that's where we get the word pan from. We get the word pan from fawn. It's the same thing. So this fawn god right here, this goat god, he's also called Pan. But they're one and the same. And this is, check it out, of course, a Roman god. And these are the origins of who we are sacrifice who we're all doing this to appease this guy so we can get fertility in action, so we can get a good harvest. Meanwhile, we know that we're supposed to be doing things unto the Most High. And if there's anything that's tied into these things, even remotely, I would submit that maybe we should let those things go. But yeah, you can scroll through and like, do you have anything to say about that? This is the horned goat god.
I do, because if you want to look at how all of this plays a role, and it's not just specifically about, um, excuse me, the the Valentine's Day deal. You can look at exactly how they're attaching this to even our children, because when you see this right here, for example, this Faunus Wise, I'm not sure if this is some type of a cartoon or something like that, but whatever it is, you see how benign her eyes are and how benign she looks, but yet and still she is this. So it's just like the word tells us that Satan will shroud himself as an angel of light. Now you would let your kids watch that, but you wouldn't let your kids watch this. But you'll get this.
Yeah,
Is that making sense? I don't
yeah,
want to be
but they
reaching.
cuten it up.
Yeah, yeah. I hope I'm
No,
not
they
reaching.
cute it up, and they desensitize you to where
Of
you've
course.
seen animated cute little versions of it, to
Yeah,
where
look
when
at
you see
this.
the real deal, it's
Look at
not going to
this.
be as uh
You see that? Look at his
not
eyes.
terrifying, but as shocking. It's not going to be as
Yeah.
shocking.
But look at the eyes here. You see the eyes? It looks very, doty. You can trust it. It's okay. It's just a show. It's all. Look at this. The powerful faunus bio on the cloud. What pad? I guess this must be one of those one of the games. It looks familiar to me. I know this game. I don't this do you see this? Can you guys hear me?
No, and like I said, like, yes, yes.
Okay, so
Like I
so
said, I'm
there's
getting
a
a
I'm sorry, go.
lag.
Okay,
No, I'm
so
sorry. I just got a quick little lag or whatever. So I got to play catch up and pretend like I'm not playing catch up.
so it's like Goku or one of those games. It's just like Goku and one of these other games and all that other stuff. Baphomet's cousin, which is all the same. And so I think it's important when you think about Pan and Panism, Peter Pan, he's got those little bitty things on the top of his head too. If you notice, if you remember that. So yeah, it's all about that. So no way possible is no way possibly this is the inspiration or prelude to the afternoon of a fawn by Debussy, the flute solo is
Absolutely.
stranded orchestral repertoire. Of
Well,
course,
see,
he'll
that was
explain.
that was his muse. That was definitely his muse. That's
Hmm.
that's where he got that
Hmm.
uh no insight or inspiration to do so.
Leaf
Definitely.
Desi. Leaf Desi
And it's
says it's go ahead, sir.
well, I'm just saying, and it's beautiful because in actuality, this. I've said this a couple of times. This is the Pied Piper.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Pied Piper who plays his beautiful flute
Mm-hmm.
with a beautiful melody that lures you all down the street to follow him, and then you fall off the cliff
Hmm.
to your death.
Hmm. Isn't that apropos? So Leif Desi says it's like they had to force these practices because Greece from Alexander the Great and the like, I think she's trying to say, and like very homosexual culture. So the act of impregnating a woman wasn't day to day, wasn't a day to day thing. Right. So probably to your point, more than likely what you're saying is they had to have this in order for it to go through, but it would all be still under the same lineage. So it would still have that demonic undertone or the seed. Sandy Aaron says the National Football Championship, Nick Saban, GOAT. Super Bowl, Tom Brady, the GOAT. Yeah, they're trying to do. See, and here's the thing. Tom Brady's wife is a witch. She more than likely is. A lot of these people that are in that in the entertainment field, which is why I was saying today, I praise the Most High that I never got famous in that realm. And there were many opportunities that you get a little discouraged after many. Oh, well, gee whiz, what's wrong with my gifting? How come I can't do? I thought I could sing. I thought everything was okay. I'm so glad that I never did because there would have been no way that I would have been a part of this stuff. But it would have been an opportunity. Yes, it would have. And so, to your point, yes, they do all of this. Diane Brown says, I get frustrated when with people saying that we are not responsible for what we don't know. I want to know, and we are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Absolutely. That is absolutely the truth. Anarchy Television says, I had a gut feeling all my life that I knew it was wrong to be celebrating any of these established holidays, no matter what it is. I've never really celebrated any of them. And it's to my point was I was talking to my grandson earlier because oh, my birthday, my birthday. I'm like, we don't do the whole birthday thing. We love you all year long. We love you. We give you things all year long. Let's see, Anarchy Television. Okay, got that right there. Okay, Tom Brady, the GOAT for sure. Uh, it is quite elusive and provocative. Yes. Transitory. Yes. Black Ring. Anarchy TV. Me too. I could feel something was wrong as a child, but I didn't know why. And then what happens when you don't get picked as the girl who's getting the Valentines? You see all the certain looking girls, they get all their good stuff first, and you don't get anything. You're trying to figure out why, and then it's that dirty bad feeling like what's wrong with me? Nothing wrong with you. Wowzers, the GOAT. Okay, yes, Felicia, positive side of dark. Thank you so very much for the super sticker. I sure appreciate you. I sure wish you had a face there on your thumbnail so that I can see who I'm thinking. But thank you so very much for that. Nick Saban, 7 national championships. Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowl wins. Go figure. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah. But as far as yeah, those are valid points. Those are interesting. The terminology and the colloquialisms of the day and how it perpetuates certain things that we're not even realizing that we're actually perpetuating. And as it has been pointed out, though it's done in ignorance, even the world acknowledges that for every action there is an equal and opposite. There is an opposite and equal reaction. It's just the fundamentals. It's the fundamentals. So even if I did something in ignorance, there still has to be a counterplay to neutralize that. It's just, oh, well, he did that in ignorance. We can sweep that under the rug. It still has to be dealt with. That's why in the ancient culture, as far as the biblical culture, they had sacrifices for the sins done in ignorance. You still needed to have a sacrifice for it. um of course you're met with mercy and grace in the process because you were ignorant, but once you learn the information, you're responsible to advance accordingly. um you know Getting off of the milk and hopping onto some meat. And with the with Pan or Fawn or whatever you want, this horned god, goat god, with syncretism, which is the culmination of all types of religions and or characteristics and attributes of a god, and it is all bundled up into one package. This is almost, you can tell, and it's been said in the chat, this is the blueprint, this is the muse for the modern day Baphomet, except for they had to make that a male female mixture type thing. But you can tell that this is the prototype. This is the visual imagery prototype for the Baphomet. So these are all aspects of the background and the underlying things, the origins of where Lupercalia, aka what we ignorantly want to call Saint Valentine's Day, a usurpation of something more, I don't know, I'll dare to say nefarious. These are the underlying tenets, premise. This is the premise of where these things come from. So when you think of Valentine's Day, you're not thinking of these things because these are the undertones. This is the origin where, let's not talk about that, but this is actually what we're at, what we are perpetuating in the spirit realm. However, what is the first thing that you think? Well, one of the first things that you think about when you think of Valentine's Day, one of them, you think about a couple things, but just, in general, you think about Cupid. You think about Cupid. So now we're getting into the representative, like we did behind the scenes right now. Now we're going to get into the representative, like the front man, the
I
tap
want to
dancer guy.
I want to show somebody, everybody, the that is here in the chat that may remember the Twilight Zone. I'm not sure, who remembers the Twilight Zone, but do you guys remember as Ronnie was talking, I remembered this particular episode of the Twilight Zone. Didn't know what it was. I knew that he was the devil, but I didn't equate him with this Faunus character because I didn't know. But do you guys remember this? I want to talk. Let's see who would remember it. Leave Desi might remember it. Most assuredly, Sandy Aaron might remember it. Even Rachel Van Ziel might remember, even though she's much younger. But this was an episode of the Twilight Zone, and the man that has his arm coming out of the jail cell, he was begging this man here on the outside, please let me out. They put me in here, and you just have to let me out. Please, please let me out. And finally, somebody let him out. The guy let him out. And when he let him out, the guy literally began to walk. And as he began to walk, you began to see him materialize as the devil. So he went from having the half man, half horned, which is this Faunus character, all the way down to just the devil with his big cape that flew open. I don't know whether you guys remember that or not, but when you started talking, I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this. I've seen this character before when we were young. And this was it as well. You remember this? This is what he transitioned to right here. Can you see that? And this right here, this is him. So he transitioned from this to this. That's what he went to. And he had the half man, half horned body. Can you guys hear me? I hope so, because I've been tampering with this thing. This is him. Look at him walking. Do you see him walking? And he changed, and he put the wings up, and he left. That's what came out of the. That's what came out of the cage. That's what came out of the cage. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
You know that, Diane? And but here's the deal. What Ronnie is teaching tonight, you can take that and marry it with points of reference, even though we knew that was the devil character. When he came walking out of that cage prior to this scene that's shown here, he was the half man, had the wolf legs and all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Faunus is the prototype for the depictions, the modern day depictions that we see, in Hollywood or TVs or what have TV depictions that you might see the quote unquote devil having the horns. And I've seen, I forgot what movie I was watching. But they depicted the devil, and he had goat legs. He had goat legs. And like,
Wow.
don't look at him in his eyes because he's super suave, and he'll throw you for a loop. And if you look down at his feet, like he had a tuxedo on, and if you look down at his feet, he had goat legs.
Now,
But
who
the
was
girl
this?
had already looked at she had already looked at him in his eyes, so it didn't matter. Like, he got it going on now. But
What was that from, Ronnie?
I forgot. It was a movie though.
Oh,
It
maybe
was a movie.
somebody remember it. So Diane remembered. So maybe somebody remember that. I remember that well. Yes, Leaf Jesse. I've seen many Twilight Zones, but not that one. I've been trying to catch more of them. Yeah. Well, this guy here was inside of there. But what you're describing is what I want to see. What you're describing, Ronnie, you have my interest peaked. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here right now. We are at the 1 hour mark. And just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you guys to stop for stopping in. I appreciate you so much. Let's see. Jeff Payne says, I just turned 50 and was offered a free trunk cooler from AARP. Yes, welcome. As all I've got to say is welcome to incredible aches and noises that your body will involuntarily make now that you're 50. They'll all start to hit you at once, my friend. Trust and believe. Okay, go ahead, Ronnie. Where should we go now?
Yeah. So just mind you, these imageries that we're looking at have fostered the depictions that we see today. And all these depictions that we see today are ominous. Like, they're not, it's not like um anything praiseworthy as far as, on the light side of the force. It's all on the dark side of the force. So definitely be mindful. Meanwhile, they disguise it, and then of course he said that even the, who we refer to as the devil, he masquerades as an angel of light. So you have all these ominous things in the background, but on the forefront, we're going to do Valentine's Day, which is all about love. And but if we acknowledge that the Most High is the Elohim of love, he's the one, he is love, then
Hmm.
we're doing having a ritualistic festival um, for Faunus, then in the name of the day of love, Valentine's Day.
Wow. Wow. You guys, are you guys enjoying this? Go ahead and let us know. Put a one in the chat if you guys are enjoying this, because I know that I am. I love it when Ronnie Man comes and shares these nuggets of truth and solid biblical teaching, because this is exactly what it is. The funny thing is that oftentimes we will hear this in passing, you know what I mean? And then we really won't focus. But when somebody brings it and breaks it down like this to us, it just means all the difference in the world. So we want to make sure that we're bringing things that you guys are enjoying and things that you guys are learning from, because inevitably, that is our goal, is to make sure that we're all learning together and that we're all sharpening our tools together. And that's a good thing. Before we go on to the next passage here, or the next screen with Ronnie, this right here is the Twilight Zone. For those of you who don't remember or don't know, the name of this one was called The Howling Man. It was called The Howling Man. Hey, Steve Willis, it was The Howling Man. So if you guys go to look at it, the Twilight Zone's Howling Man, and you'll see that this guy right up here, the gentleman with the white hair, he was the one telling the man here with the cardigan. I love that cardigan. Telling the cardigan, no matter what you do not let this guy out. No matter how much he howls, no matter what goes on, don't let him out. Don't do it. And he was moved by his emotion. And as soon as
Do
he
you?
moved, go ahead.
No, pardon me. I thought you were finished.
No, I'm almost done. That's my cue to shut up.
No. I thought that was my cue to come in. I apologize.
I forgot you had the lag. But yes, but the point is that yes, some keys to this. This guy was cunning. Okay, he was
And he used,
convincing.
like you were saying, he used emotion. He
Yeah,
used emotion.
yeah. He used his emotion. That's right, Ronnie. He used the emotion, and he played on his heartstrings. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna go back to doing the finger thing. You just tell me where to go and I'll do it.
No, no, no.
I just
Well,
love
but
it.
look at all the
I just get
facets.
motivated. I get motivated.
But
Okay,
no, but
go.
look at all the facets that's tied in. You just said that the episode is called The Howling Man. Why? Who? What howls? A wolf.
Wow.
A wolf house. So now this points us right back to Rome. They know what they're doing. They know this. It's us that don't know it. It's us. They give us our bread and our circus. They know the real deal, and then we think, oh, that's just so interesting. Like they're so creative. Like, no, they ain't creative. They know, and then they disguise it as entertainment. But what they're doing is glorifying and repping their gods. But he's the Howling Man, and he looks like a goat. I mean, he has goat. The Howling Man. Are you saying that's the Roman wolf? That's in every aspect. Then that's faunus.
The
It's
funny
called
thing is,
syncretism.
while he's inside of that cage, he looks just like a regular old guy and he's looking at him in his eyes, Ronnie. You should see it. He's like looking at him in his eyes. You have to let me out. That old man is crazy. You gotta let me out. You gotta believe me. You gotta believe me. And he looks absolutely normal while he's in there. And the guy with the white hair basically said, you can stay here, but I want to let you know right now, do not, well, no matter what you do not let him out. Don't go over there. Don't even talk to him. So he started doing everything he shouldn't have done. Yeah, he started doing everything he shouldn't have done, and that's how he ended up. It started with one thing, then he did another thing, then he did another thing, and then after that, he let him out, and yikes, there was peace in the land too. If you guys remember that, there was like peace, and that's why the guy couldn't get it. He was like, I don't understand what he's talking about. Well, you couldn't understand what he's talking about because they had him locked up. Wow, wow,
Which is why there was peace.
that's
Which is why there was peace in the land. You had them locked up. You just opened Pandora's box. Yeah. Uh, um. th- this stuff is the undertone of literally as we will see as we progress down this Sunday dinner path. We're going to find out that every single aspect of all of these quote unquote holidays, you have to also know that the holidays is a wordplay off of the holy days, and the holy days are the set apart days of Yah that we read about in what we term the Old Testament. And um they they created their own, or they took on their cultures, and then they usurped the Most High's holy days and inserted their holidays. We have to understand that. We have to understand that. And in doing so, when you look at every single holiday that we've ever partook in, unless you read about them in scripture and partook in those, they are, I'll use the word nefarious. They are abominations unto Yah. It's just I'm just keeping it. I'm keeping it 100. I have to at this juncture. We all have to, and
right.
we have to take a sober look and a sober mindset to really decide if we are going, when we draw that line in the sand, which side of that line are we going to stand on.
Mm.
I've chose what side I'm going to stand on.
Rachel Van Ziel makes a very good point, and she says Pandora, the explorer. Like Pandora's box. Mm-hmm.
Pan. uh,
Pan, Pandora. Wow.
I really have an affinity towards your chat. These people are, they're 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 on. They are
They're co-laborers.
yeah, we're
They are co-laborers. That's why I call them the co-laborers in the faith. Because you get a lot of diversity in a lot of different people's chats. You get a lot of different stuff, and that's always good. But when the Father has smiled on you and has given you individuals to be co-laborers with, such as those who come to the Lockhart perspective, I know the Father loves me. I know that he loves me. You know, before that, I knew he loves me. But when I see people like this that I can learn from, that are really here to get fed and that can feed into each of us and then go out and do their thing, that's why my encouragement today was it's time to do that. Get on out there and do your thing. Cry loud and spare not. It's time. It's
Yeah,
time.
it's time. It's time. It's time. And mind you, this time there's a season for everything. So it might be time to cry out loud and spare not. But this season, this time is gonna come to a close. So you crying out loud and sparing not, you telling it all, but there's gonna become a time when it's going to be silent and you're not gonna hear anything. So in these times, this is the time to go ahead and absorb all of this truth that is being projected. Because it's the spirit that's speaking to you. It's not me. I'm an instrument. Because I'm wondering, I'm asking myself, why am I so interested in getting all these all this random information, and like I just have it all stored up in my brain. And I'm like, man, I'm supposed to give this out to the people. That like I don't know. I don't know, man. But this is I understand that this is a portion, an aspect of my job, and I'm gonna execute it. I'm gonna do it. This time is gonna come to a close. So hear it loud, do something about it in the right here, in the right now. Holla if you hear me.
So let's talk about that. It's going to, it will, end at an appointed time, basically. Okay, let's talk about that right quick, because it's important for us to connect the dots. Right? What are we saying? What we're saying is it's been revealed to all of us. Yes, Peter Pan is one. Panism, and he has the little ears too, and he flies around. It's been revealed to all of us that it's that time. It's just us all getting together now, saying it's time to roll. Okay, it's time to roll. It's time to do this. No more holding back. It's time to do it. Why? Because have you ever heard the old phrase, you're between a rock and a hard place? And when
Yes,
you're in a
man.
rock and a hard place, what do? You come out swinging. Back in the day, you know what I'm saying? When my sister Karim and I, we used to get, I told you guys that they used to get us in a little huddle and make us talk or make me talk, make her talk, listen to how she speaks, right? They would get me in a corner and I had to come out swinging because I didn't know what else to do. So now you're at that corner. We are at that place. We are in the place where we are literally between a rock and a hard place. You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. So you may as well do it and roll. You may as well do it and roll. I'd rather be hey, I don't want to be in trouble with the Father. I'd rather be in trouble with you, or you. But him, no way. So I got to do this. And this is the time. There's no more time for playing at all. At all. If it means the channel, I'm keeping all the other social media areas up so that you guys can find me. Right? Right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with
So
it.
I'm putting it all up because right now, this is that. This is that time. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. We've been saying it. But right now is the time for us to get bold with the word. Speak the word in season and out of season. Live the word in season and out of season. Do it because that's all we can do. You want to hear good and faithful servant, well done? You got to do that. You got to throw them bows. It's time. It's time. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yes, man. So let's do a harsh segue into the next leg of understanding this Lupercalia, aka Saint Valentine's Feast Festival Day. Um, jump over to the I sent you a Britannica.com one on Cupid.
Okay, let me go ahead and get the Britannica Cupid. Cupid, remember that? It's an old song.
Yes.
Old,
So
okay.
this is the front man, right? This is the front man. You got Cupid, and what does the front man do? The front man, he's the he's the face of Saint Valentine's Day. So you know him as that little teeny little cute little cherub that has the bow and the arrow. That if he hits you with the bow, then you're struck by love, and that whole cute little they baby fight. They once again they animate it and they make it cute, just like with that anime of Pan, and then you put it in cartoon form, and then it's cutified.
Mhm.
So okay, so you got this Cupid guy, right? And Have you pulled it up? What does it say? Ah, it shouldn't be surprising by now. A Roman god. We are steeped in Romanism.
Mm,
My peoples, it's time to come out of her. If I'm not talking to you, then I'm not talking to you. But if I am talking to you, I'm talking to you. We steeped in Romanism. We have to come out of it. We have to come out of it. Cupid is a Roman god, and we even buy our children little hearts and little cards to give to pass out to other people with Cupid on it, and it's all cute. And it's not. It's
mm-mm.
not. These are other gods of other cultures,
It's ugly.
of other nations, and we. Uh,
He ugly. That's ugly. My mic is on, isn't it?
yeah.
Oops. Never mind. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry. I like there was a lag, and I don't know what's going on. So pardon me if
My
I'm
mic was on. I was like,
if I'm causing dead air.
okay, there we go.
Cupid, right? Are we on the same page, Cupid?
Yes, we are on the
Okay, so
same page.
look,
An ancient
okay.
Roman god of
Hey,
love.
pardon me. Super lag over here, but that's okay. So Cupid, right? The Roman god. Let's just read it real quick. Ancient Roman god of love in all of its varieties, not just the wholesome, quote unquote, Christianized, variety, but love in all of its varieties. The counterpart of the Greek god Eros and the equivalent of amor in Latin poetry.
Mm,
You are enamored by Cupid. According to myth, Cupid is the son of Mercury, who is the messenger god, the winged messenger god, and Venus, the goddess of love. He often appears as a winged infant carrying a bow and a quiver of arrows, whose wounds inspire love or passion in his every victim. He was sometimes portrayed wearing armor like that of Mars, who is the god of war, perhaps to suggest ironic parallels between warfare and romance. All's fair in love and war. So, the love god has to wear armor. That's interesting.
mm,
The ironic parallels between war and love, or to symbolize the invincibility of love. So that might be another reason why he wears armor. But nonetheless, he's a cute little Cupid, but he's the god of love in all of its varieties.
mm, mm. Wow. All of its varieties. And since you know that this is a demonic god, you can take that several directions. Several directions. It reminds me of the how they're all trying to make it all the ecumenicalism, having like all these different gods under one umbrella, that all roads will lead you to the Father, in heaven, that the true God will all lead you there. Now, here's the thing where I'm trying to say, when they talk about love, and when I say they, I mean the populace out there, when they talk about love, they say, "Oh, you can love anybody. Love is something you can love anyone. A man can love a man. A woman can love a woman. It's all love. You're supposed to love." That's demonic. See, that's that nice, soft face that's playing on your heartstrings. Yeah, they just want to love whoever they want to love. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I could vote for that candidate or that person who believes in that. Yeah, I could do that. And now you see what we have as our health person, right? You see where the love got us? See where all that got us? See who's handling the whole health stuff in the government? Yeah. Yeah, love, right. That part. Where do you want me to go? You want me to scroll up a little?
Yes, yeah. Scroll to the next paragraph, right
Okay.
above that picture.
Here? Okay.
Right there,
Okay.
right there. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I'm just gonna read and then we'll talk about it. Although some literature portrayed Cupid as callous and careless, he was generally viewed as beneficent on account of the happiness he imparted to couples both mortal and immortal. At the worst, he was considered mischievous in his matchmaking. This mischief often directed by his mother, Venus, who is the goddess of love. She likes mischief. That's interesting. That's another tale for another time, though. But
Hmm.
in one tale, her machinations backfired. Now check this out. The plot thickens. The plot always thickens dealing with Rome. Her
Hmm.
machinations backfired when she used Cupid in revenge on the mortal Psyche,
Mm.
only to have Cupid fall in love and succeed in making Psyche his immortal wife. So listen,
Mm.
what's going on? Cupid falls in love with your mortal Psyche.
Mm. Hmm.
Please understand what I'm saying. He Psyche and Cupid are the couple, are the
Mm.
couple of the day. Your
Mm.
brain has been entrenched in cupidity.
Ah.
Psyche. So he has a thing for your psyche. He's always trying to get a hold of the mortal Psyche.
Look here.
I love her. I need to marry her. I'm wooing Psyche. He's always wooing your psyche.
Mm.
Always.
Mm. Got a little something for you. I'm going to go right back to that. But I want to show you guys this right here. Lines right up with what our brother just said. Freud. You see that? Do you all see that? Let me go ahead and read it for you right quick. Let me show you what that says. So it says Freud's personality theory saw the psyche structured into three parts, i.e., tripartite, the id, the ego, and the superego, all developed at different stages in our lives, and these systems, not parts of the brain or in any way physical, just to what our brother just said. Do you see that? That's Sigmund Freud, and we all know who Sigmund Freud is. None of us are novice where this cat is concerned.
Right.
Okay, he was a neurologist and a psychoanalyst and a psychologist and all that other stuff that he dealt with the brain, in other words. But this is just what our brother Ronnie just said. Exactly what he just said. I'm going to go back to that slide now, Ronnie.
Okay, go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. So let's move on because you segued already.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All righty. You have two here for Psyche. You've
Yeah,
got the
pull up the
Greek
first one. Pull
names.
up the first one. I should have three there,
You
but
do. You want
I
the
just want
first
to take.
one?
No, I want the first one. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me go back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you down a quick path of your psyche, of psyche.
It's necessary. It's possible.
So Cupid is in love with Psyche. Cupid wants you to have him on your mind at all times. At all times. Are we there?
Mm, yeah, I think so. Hold on. Is this the one? Or
No.
is it the other one? The one before this? Okay, I
It's,
got that one. Psychic myth. Psyche myth. That's the one you're referring to. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, we haven't seen this. Yeah, okay, here she is. Here it is. It's like a little girly.
yeah, 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 yeah. Cute,
There you
cute
go.
fairy action because you need. That's why you have the fairy in Peter Pan, and that's why they can fly and things like that. And so, so Wendy is Psyche. Remember Wendy and Peter
Wow.
Pan?
Yes.
She's she's the mortal.
Wow.
You with me, right?
I'm with
So,
you.
and what's that? That's a right. That's a Disney flick. That's the most. That's all of those Disney flicks should be already. That's the most scary movie. Peter Pan was a frightening movie. It should have been a horror movie, man. Like, okay, so she's Wendy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so moving forward.
Yeah, he
Moving
said it
forward.
should have been a horror movie. Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, you got it, bro.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
Cupidity.
So look.
Cupidity. Jen said
So
cupidity. Love that. That's Iranianism, cupidity. Do you know you
Oh
said you
well,
do
and
know before that,
sexuality,
right?
cupidity is a word.
Oh,
Cupidity is a word. Yeah, but I
okay.
mean, okay, but nonetheless, the psyche, right? So, psyche. Who is this in what in the Greek in the Greco-Roman? This is what we're doing. We
Mhm.
are doing Psyche, and she is the Greek mythological mortal that is comparable to Aphrodite. She is so she's the Aphrodite. You know, she's a goddess. She's quote unquote the goddess of beauty, right? So Psyche will be the mortal equivalent. She's the human who is of great beauty. She eventually became the goddess. Peep this out now. She became the goddess of souls. She is the
Wow.
goddess of your soul. But check it though. I thought they already had somebody over the lover of our souls, and anybody steeped in biblicalisms know who that is.
That's right.
But the goddess of souls, being deemed worthy of immortality after completing a series of impossible tasks and due to the undying love of Cupid, her husband. So just to let you know from the mythological value who Psyche is, if you can click on the next Psyche. Oh, unless you wanted to talk about it, because I saw you pull up pictures. I apologize. Unless you wanted to talk about it,
No, 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 I didn't. I just pulled up what you gave me and expanded the picture thing, and it
I'm
brought
with you.
all those up. But to your point where you were stating basically that they were all just sort of, soft, and pretty and all that stuff. Is this the
Right,
one
dainty.
here? The yes, fancy,
Yeah,
just so
yes,
fancy.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So let's see what's going on with Psyche. So what does Psyche mean? So, like Psyche literally means the soul, the lifeblood. I want you to see that. I mean, like I'm not. I'm. This isn't my definition. I'm pulling up the definition.
So you want
It
me to?
is, and then no, I mean, no. Scroll up to where you see the Greek lettering,
Oh,
or
okay.
scroll
So
down. Go to the top. Go to the top where you see the Greek lettering. It tells you it's a noun. Right underneath it tells you it's a noun. It means soul, psyche, lifeblood, the lifeblood. And then when you scroll down past that, then you get into the Strongs, which tells you it's to breathe, to blow. So that's the breath. And we know in the Hebrew, the breath and the soul is one and the same. Different wording, of course, but
oh,
it's one and the same.
so are we there? Because I want to make sure I'm where you wanted me to be.
That's fine. That's fine. Because basically, I'm just speaking to what psyche is. It's the soul. It's the breath. You can actually click on the next one, next
Let me ask
on the last psyche.
what breath in the Bible, pneuma, where the Father breathed life, breathed pneuma.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So in the Hebrew, it's the same wording, different words because it's different language, but it's the same concept. That we're talking about the breath, the lifeblood, the soul. So Cupid fell in love with the souls of men. He fell in love with life, and we're supposed to not love our life even unto death. But we have the God that we venerate every single um year doing the opposite. He's in love with the life. But we're supposed to die daily. We're supposed to just tying it in with the truths of what scripture is. But when you go to this last psyche, the free dictionary, it says psyche, a young one. It just tells you basically it's the spirit or the soul, and this is what I wanted to demonstrate. I just wanted to show you the progression of, and that's why we use psyche today in the English language. This is where it came from the Greek, the Greco-Roman mindset, and it says the mind functioning as the center of thought. So check it. The mind functioning as the center of thought, emotion, and behavior. and consciously or unconsciously adjusting or mediating the body's responses to the social and physical environment. So the psyche is the mind functioning as the center of thought, emotion, and behavior. And we seen uh, in the Twilight Zone footage that he catered to what? He pulled the heartstrings, the emotions, and he manipulated the behavior of the guardman at the prison door to
Mhm,
open him up, to open up and free him.
mhm.
Consciously or unconsciously adjusting or mediating the body's responses to the social and physical environment.
Mm.
So
Steve Willis has
Cupid
something.
can manipulate that. Go ahead.
Steve Willis has a very good point here, and it says when we consider coming out from among her, perhaps we should consider our support of abortion, because even though it is involuntary for probably all of us here, we are we not still culpable? Most assuredly, we are. If we support anybody who goes along with it, um, if we support anybody who goes along with it, if we support people who are, on the fence with it, if we support people who consider themselves the man or the woman for all people, then we most assuredly do. If I'm understanding your question correctly, I do believe so. Are we not all culpable? Still culpable? Yes, we are. Yeah, we most assuredly are. Now, one thing I also want to talk about is the fact that you just named something that we talked about here about a month or so ago when we were talking about how they were all saying they were fighting for the soul of America. And remember, we shared with you then that the soul is the seat of the will. Your will is in the soul. And that's the reason why they kept saying we're fighting for the soul. And you could find thousands of people, hundreds, if not thousands, all saying the same exact thing. We have to tie this back to today. Everything that we're doing, we have to tie it in to today. They hope we don't figure this out, but we have, but we know because we're studying to show ourselves approved, right? And so, in
That's right.
understanding that, now we see the spirit or soul, psychiatry, the mind functioning as the center of thought, emotion, and behavior, and consciously or unconsciously. There's your responsibility right there. Conscious or unconscious. There's your responsibility right there. Adjusting or meditating, mediating the body's response to social and physical environment. Latin psyche, Greek psyche. hmm So
Right.
all of these things are our responsibility, right, Ronnie?
Yeah, it is our responsibility. We have to take introspect. We have to look within ourselves and see, are we playing our parts? And if I continue to worry about this plank that's in my eye, then and we all did that. You worry about the plank that's in your eye. I'll worry about the plank that's in my eye. Art Jones will worry about the plank that's in the eye. Miss Van Zee, everybody individually, where you have a huge plank in your eye, but I'm not worried about your plank because I have a huge, probably bigger than yours, plank in my eye. And if we all took introspect and dealt with it individually, then we'll all be on the same page. I won't have to keep on pointing to you like you need to tighten up. I mean, collectively, we should always encourage each other to tighten up, but I shouldn't be, putting all of it on you to tighten up, and I'm just sitting back, being self-righteous about it.
It's very rich. That's good. That's
Um,
good.
so this is the thing. Cupid, who we see, is through syncretism, synonymous or seemingly so with Pan, with Faunus, it's all the same thing. Cupid is after our brain. He wants us to keep our minds, our spirit, our soul, our brains, our psyche uh, on him, on him. And this is the Roman construct. So it rings true every time I say it. It should ring true more. We are transformed by the renewing of our mind. Our mind has already been hijacked by this current society. It's already been hijacked. We are the only, you're lying to yourself if you think that you've been transformed, quote unquote, born again or what have you, and you haven't renewed your mind. You haven't unplugged from the mainframe. If you're still plugged into the mainframe, you're you're lying to yourself. This this mainframe has a virus in it. We have to disinfect. We have to unplug from the mainframe, and this is the only way that we are transformed. What, how? By the renewing of our mind. Why? Because Cupid has our psyche. That's why. And it's venerated in perpetuity every single year in February. So you you know, you with me? Well, if if you hear what I'm saying and you with me, go ahead and move over to
I'm with you. What I'm actually doing is creating part two. So if you guys don't mind, we're going to shut this one down right here and go directly into part two because we want these to be palatable for yourself as well as those that you may choose to share it with. And so here is what I've done. If you will look, if all of you are comfortable with coming right back in, clicking onto the going right into the next show that you see that we've already got set up, I want everybody to do that if you don't mind. Ronnie, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and send you the new link and we're going to pick right up where we left off. We are right now, folks, at the 1 hour and 36-minute mark. If you choose to follow along with us, that's excellent. But the next one may only be 30 minutes. The next one may only be, an hour. But if you choose to follow along with us, we would love to have you. So we're going to close this one out if that's okay with everybody. And we'll be literally right back. When you go, you're going to see that I'm actually live. It'll show that I'm live. Okay. So we love everybody. And thank you so very much. We're going to close this one out. And remember what we always say here at the Lockhart Perspective, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the Most High. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, folks. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.